everyone, and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build video. And today I am making this penthouse residential rental in Saudade and Morada. Now, I built this initially, like this was the first thing I built when I got the Lovestruck pack. So I was like, okay, because I found out that we can do like multi-household builds on top of penthouses. So I was like, okay, we got that in an update and we've got these penthouses that aren't too large, because if you know me, I hate very, very large residentials. Like I like, if it's a large residential, there's going to be like a lot of like, is it excavating? No, what's the word? Landscaping, yes, that's it. There's going to be a lot of landscaping if it's going to be a large residential, but the actual interior of it, it's not going to be that big because I hate really big interiors. Hence why you will look through my channel, all 120 something videos, and you won't see a single mansion. Will you see a castle? Yes, but a castle, there's a sense of like escapism to it. There's a sense of like mystique into it. Like it can just be this entire thing compared to like a very modern mansion. Like I think I could even do probably a Georgian manor before I could ever do, even doing a Georgian manor. I'll just put a lot of sitting rooms because it makes sense in that context. But in making like anything modernistic, like if you told me make a celebrity mansion, I'll look at you funny. Like if you look at the only celebrity build I have is like, it's a big house, but it's pretty standard. And if you watch the video, you can even see me struggling to think, how am I supposed to fill out the space? I ended up making like almost like a playroom kind of thing. So there was like a foosball table, stuff like that. But even then I was like, how do I fill out the space? Now I know that when you look at it and you think about it, you can be like, oh, do a cinema, do a tennis court, do a in-house gym, do a like 2 lounges maybe, do a playroom, do a hobby room, then do like 4 bedrooms and like loads of others. Like there's a lot to do with the mansion. Yeah, I can think of the things to put in it, but then to actually like shape it into a model, because the thing is about Georgian builds, Victorian builds, and castles is that the immenseness of the build, you can encapsulate it in your mind. Like you can think about, okay, this is how it's supposed to go, and this is how big I can make basically the shell of it, and then I can imagine how I make the individual rooms. But the problem is when it comes to making mansions, is that modern contemporary ones, is that I can imagine how the exterior can look, but I can't imagine how I'm going to then do the rooms and the interior. I can imagine that the rooms and the interior are going to be very, very big. That's not the issue here. The issue at hand is that I can't imagine how those big rooms are going to fit into this big shell and actually work right. It ends up causing me to have like loads of rooms that have no windows, loads of rooms that have too many windows, loads of rooms that are shaped very oddly, loads of rooms that you're not even able to access unless you enter another room. For example, you can't go into the hobby room until you enter bedroom number 3, but that's not how a real life build would work. A real life build, there'll be like hallways and hallways amongst hallways, and I think that's one of the things I hate the most. I hate hallways like a lot. I like them when I do castles, like I've made schools and stuff. Those hallways make sense because it's a school, I can fill them up with lockers. But most of the time in hallways within residential builds, I can't think of what to fill them up with, because if you try and use something from the decorations tab in The Sims 4, you will end up having what was it saying? You would end up having like the sim not be able to enter like the house properly. Like I remember before in my build that I posted on Monday, the Saudade Emirate residential like townhouse, this kind of thing, which I had such a lovely comment. I know I don't reply to them as fast as I normally do. I read them and then I always go in the back of my head, I need to reply, but then I always just end up not replying, and then all of a sudden it's an upload day and I'm supposed to be uploading. But I saw a really sweet comment from someone that was like, this is exactly like Mexican like townhouses. And at first, when I saw Spanish writing on the video, I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to tell me this is horrible. This is somehow maybe even offensive. Like I was terrified because I don't know. I don't normally, when I build houses that aren't typically Western, I'm normally building houses that I have physically seen in real life, like houses in Zimbabwe or houses like in desert villages or something I've physically seen. I've seen a desert village. Well, it wasn't technically desert village, but it was very arid. But I've physically seen what that looks like, or I've seen other things, or they're just Western. But to build something in this retrospect, it was like almost, it's also another build that is not typically built in the Sims. Well, now it is, just because we got the Lovestruck pack. But before, builds you would normally see in the Sims 4 that weren't Western were builds in East Asia, such as Japanese builds, Korean builds, and stuff like that. Sometimes you'll see Slavic builds. But you don't really see anything else beyond that I haven't personally been to, like builds within sub-Saharan Africa. So when I saw the Spanish Rose, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. I'm scared. But they wrote the sweetest comment. They were like, this is exactly like it. And I think most than anything, my favorite type of comments, I really do love comments when people talk about, oh, I watched this entire... No, do you know what? I love, my favorite type of comments are when you guys like interact with what I've been saying. Like, I love it when you compliment the builds, but I also love it when you interact with what I've been saying. Like, I remember before I had a comment where someone was like, yeah, I totally get you on the like room temperature food thing. Cause I remember I was talking about, I think in one of my sushi build videos, that I prefer food that is room temperature. It can't be too hot, it can't be too cold. It has to be exactly medium temperature. And I said that so far into the video, it made me feel like, oh, so you guys do watch, like, I don't fault you if you just watch like the first 5 minutes and are like, oh, either this voice is annoying or this topic is boring, and you click off. Fair, that's fine, that's okay. But because my stats on my channel says that most, on average, people watch 3 minutes of like sometimes my 30-minute videos, I'm just like, oh, okay, so you guys didn't like listen to what I said, and that is perfectly fine. Like I've said before, I've even said before, you can mute me if you want to and just play a playlist in the background and just watch me speed build. As like, I don't know, you're just listening to another artist as I speed, but like you can totally do that. But when you interact with what I'm saying, I'm like, oh, I'm interested in crits, because I worry that I'm just normally just either repeating. I just seriously worry that sometimes I can be very boring. So when you say stuff like that, I'm like, okay, so you wish we would do 3 and 3. Anyway, it's been 30 minutes since like literally Dina how I said before, I was like, oh, I just love it when you interact and everything. That was 30 minutes ago. There's 30 minutes difference between. That's the beauty of editing. You can't even tell unless I directly point it out to you. Maybe you can, but like I wouldn't. But anyway, I wanted to say that as well, just so you guys know that if I forget what my original point is, it's because of that. I don't know what I was talking about beforehand. But you know what? I'm just gonna go back onto talking about this build. So I originally found out that we could actually do like residential rentals on the penthouses now, and I was like, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity. I think one of the issues I have with penthouses, I never like doing them. I don't think I've even done I've done a penthouse restaurant, like penthouse community builds. I think I'll do penthouse restaurants quite often because I love them, but to actually do like a residential penthouse, I did once. I did like maybe one in a save, not even on this computer, like on my PC that's like from 2007 kind of thing. Like I did one there, and after that I was like, I'm never doing this again because it's a horrible experience. I don't like it. I never want to do it again. There's just something about the way a penthouse sits on top of the apartment that I don't like. Like even doing this, I was like, I don't know if this is going to come out right, but the only reason I decided to do it this way, I was like, okay, it's a mixture almost of like a bar, restaurant, swimming pool, and I really wanted to do this like pool at the edge kind of thing, because I've always wanted to do that when it comes to penthouses. I think I've even like tried to like implement that in the sushi restaurant. I didn't quite do it, but I've always kind of wanted to like implement like a pool edge, and I feel like hosting parties here will be the coolest thing ever. You know what? I've never actually hosted a gathering with foreign. You know what I'm going to do? I always say this, but I'm going to just play the game. I think after I've done this, first I'm going to upload the restaurant from Wednesday, because I have not uploaded that yet. I'm going to upload that, then I'm going to upload this, and then I think what I'm going to do maybe tell me if you guys are interested. But I think what I'm going to also do, I'm going to do a Lovestruck ASMR. And hold on. Let me explain that. Because I understand with this voice, you can't ASMR because this is very jarringly auto-generated voice. You can tell this is a voice changer, so it's not going to be able to give you the same sense of ASMR. But what I mean by that is that I'm just going to do a play. Like, I think if you go onto my channel and you see the day in the lives that I have, I think I do day in the lives of, I've done 2. There's a playlist. If you go onto those, I think I'll do that to some extent, but more cinematically. So rather than it be like straight up do this and this and this and this, it's more just going to be just ambiently watching like stories evolve within the game. I feel like that might be a little bit of fun to see, and like kind of makes you want to play the game a bit and makes you game have a bit of vibe, because every single time I watch something cinematic to do with The Sims that people do, I automatically want to bring out my game and just like start playing it, because I just love the cinematic essence that The Sims can create. Also, I always struggle with these counters when it comes to connecting them from being counters against the wall to counters outside. But these are, I think I've said it before, I did a video describing what my favorite type of packs are for modern builds, and I did say that Island Living is in the top 5 specifically for these counters. And what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to get actually, I was going to say I was going to get my iPad, use Procreate, and just change some of the swatches in order so I can have like the exact swatches for these counters and have many more, until I realized that I don't have my iPad on me because my iPad is broken. It bent, and we sent it off to the insurance company because we've got a cover on it. I do not know how it bent. All of a sudden, one day it was charging perfectly to 100%, and then after that, it just was charging to 1%, and then it was shutting off and it wasn't working. So I was really confused on why isn't my iPad working? I didn't even know it was bent. We went to, in the UK, where we normally do electronics, it's called Curry's PC World. So we went to Curry's PC World because that's where I originally brought it. And the cover is with my dad's plan at, I don't know his insurance company, but he's got a little cover on the iPad there. But we originally brought it to Curry's, and I thought we could go to the repair area at Curry's and see, oh, is there anything we can do? Because it's covered under warranty there as well. They saw it and they're like, we can't do this. And I was like, why? You haven't even like looked at it? Because I was originally thinking there's something wrong with the port, and they were like, no, it's bent. And I picked it up, and it was bent, but the problem is it was bent on one side. So the side where the charging port is, normally my iPad is always in a case, so I never really see it flat out like that. But normally where the charging port is, it was like completely fine, no issues at all. But then if you looked at the top side where the cameras were, there was a slight bend in the middle. In my head, I have broken iPads before. Okay, that sounds a bit dramatic. I broke an iPad before. My dad broke his iPad that used to be my iPad. So, but I have broke a iPad before. Like I hit it, and like the front completely like smashed by accident. I hit it because it wasn't functioning right. I was like, come on, work. And then it was really sensitive and it smashed the front, and we got that fixed. But that's what happened with the iPad. So I know that iPads can be fragile. So when I saw that it was bent, all I was thinking in my head, how are you bent but also still very fragile? Like I would have expected you to like crack or something or smash or something in the midst of it. But you know what? It's whatever. It's whatever. We sent it off to get it fixed. But what I was going to say is that I was going to use Procreate, and I was going to do different swatches of those Item Paradise counters because they're some of my favorite counters. But another issue I also have with them, there is no top counters, cabinets. I always say that. There's no cabinets for them. There's no cabinets that match. So I think I'm going to go a bit on like CC shopping as well, because guys, I don't know how to describe this. Okay, remember how before, okay, that was so much to tell you and the video's going to end soon. But okay, I'm going to leave it in this note. I'm surprised I had so much more to say. I was thinking that like I didn't have that much more to say. But yeah, I actually do. But I originally made Tundra right. That is the save file that I'm creating. And I'm still very much interested in Tundra. But I remember before I said to you guys, that's not like the main save file. I want to do another save file. That other save file that I wanted to create, hell, I've completely scrapped it. I even deleted the actual save game itself because I'm no longer interested in the concept. Well, I am, but it's such a vast concept that I feel like it's a bit too much for me to do as my first ever save file out there. I think I should do something a little bit less. And that's kind of like the same thing that's happened with Tundra. It's sci-fi, it's mystery, it's going to be amazing. But every single little bit of it has to be so concentrated. It's not very open-ended like a save file should be. Like, yeah, a save file should have a mystery or like some kind of storyline, but it should also be very open-ended so a player can do whatever they want with it. But there's a specific way I want players to view Tundra that I feel like is too complex for me to do now and way too complex to be the first ever save file I have out there. So I'm planning for the next 2 years to work on Tundra. Hopefully by the end of 2025, I can have it out. If I gain more inspiration and gain more time, I will continue it. But I think what I'm going to do is do another save file. And this save file is going to be... I'm not going to tell you the name of it. And honestly, I'm not going to even show you it until I've done like an entire street. But this save file, I'm planning to do it in the theme of Britain. So it's like very British themed. So there's going to be British houses, British high schools and stuff like that. I know I've done it already now, but all like very realistic Britain. Not like all bits and pieces of like the upper class areas. Like, no, very, very realistic Britain. But yeah, this is the build and I actually like it now. But I'm happy it's done. I'm happy it's done because I've been having like an urge to build British houses lately. And I've been like, no, I need to stick to these houses because I always talk about the lack of non-Western houses. So, but yeah, the next build out there is probably getting everything out of my backlog because I still have builds from before I went to Zimbabwe that need to be put out before I can continue. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you don't, that's also okay. I appreciate you staying this long and listening to all of my rambles. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below. I read all of your comments, the more the merrier. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.